Welcome to the Racing Nuggets podcast. I'm PJ Noodleman, joined by my co-host from the Midwest Racing Connection, Dan Plan. Hello, Dan.
Hello, good to be here again. Looking forward to talking to Bryan.
Yeah, Bryan Seyer-Keske is our guest tonight, another fellow Minnesotan. Welcome, Bryan. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So you had a pretty eventful season in 2023, picking up the Rookie of the Year honors for the Midwest Tour. And you really kind of put your name on the map. And I know you got to go down to Daytona as well too, something that we're going to want to talk to you about. But talk a little bit about your season and kind of what your goals were when you were heading into the season, and sort of how you were able to achieve some of those goals, if not all of them.
Yeah, well, 2022, we ended up building a new car. Um, and my plan originally was to race 2022 for the whole Midwest Tour. And then my motor didn't get done until I think right after Slinger of 22. We just kind of hit and miss a couple tracks that I don't have any experience at. Just try to get some notes for going into 2023. And then, we started the season off. I thought decent at Slinger. I mean, we had a couple mishaps in the race, and then from there, it kind of got better. But then at the same time, it got worse. Couple tracks, I would have been Kakana for the 250. We had a really fast car there. I mean, we drove from like 16th to 4th on track, but we had some rear end issues, and that put us 3 laps down. So we just kept on trying to fight back and fight back. And there's a couple places where I know we could have had really, really strong finishings. Hawkeye was one of them. Ended up having a right rear shock brake. I don't know if that's when I bounced off the fence by myself or what. And then going in lacrosse, I knew we were going to be good. Just basically keeping the car under me and just not making any dumb mistakes.
Well, it's kind of refreshing to know that you had a lot of things that happened, but you still kept powering through, and you ended up taking home the victory or the Rookie of the Year honors. So that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I definitely, that was our goal all along, was get rookie of the year, and I was hoping we get top three in points. And midway through the season, I had a couple bad races, and we are sitting fourth, almost fifth a couple times, and I'm like, man, it'd be cool to be top three. And then lacrosse happened, and I think we ended up beating Levon Vandergeest by 3 or 4 points, and then that was really cool. It's kind of like a cherry on top, you could say.
For sure. So, what is your background with racing? Were you always around it? Did you grow up in it? And your parents involved in it? How did that all come together for you?
My dad was always a NASCAR fan, a Daytona Senior fan, and I know back in the day when he was younger, probably 25-ish, he messed around with would be like a hobby stock at Raceway Park, and then his buddy raced the same car but as a power stock at Elko. We had a little bit of background. He wasn't very good at it, he did it for fun kind of a deal. And one day went to go buy a riding lawnmower. I think that was it would have been 2001 or 2002 from a guy named Terry Anderson. And his kid raced quarter midgets at MQMRA in Elko there. And seeing the cart, and, I was all over it, as a young kid, I was 5 at that time. And my dad got me into schooling, so I kept my grades up. Well, that kind of backfired, but here we are, and went from quarter midgets to legend cars to super late models, and every once in a while I mess around with a big A car, but that's pretty much about it.
I bet your dad's really proud of you.
Yeah, he could say that. Yeah,
And he was
he's definitely a pretty happy camper.
and he was pretty much your main crew member throughout the year to go to every one of the races with you too.
Yep, I mean realistically, we didn't really have a full-time crew or anything. It was my dad and myself working on the car at the shop. And like I would do the setup stuff, and he would like pack the bearings, clean the brakes, and keep it outside the car clean. Um, every once in a while, I had a couple friends help me here and there. Picked up a spotter halfway through the season. Jeffrey Graff did a great job doing that. That's actually, I think, his first super race that he spotted for ever was Milwaukee Mile when we were out there this year for the tour race.
Wow,
And
throw him right
then,
to the wolves on that one.
I mean, that's a pretty big step up, but he did a great job. My main crew guy would have been Dalton Lamont. I know he went to probably three-quarters of the races. Just life happens. He couldn't make it to all of them. And then every once in a while with a couple other buddies. But by the end of it, it was pretty much my father, Dalton, and myself, and then Jeffrey when he could make it. And that's kind of how it rolled. And we just made the best of it.
Mm.
You mentioned you visited a few tracks in 2022, but I'm guessing you still had some new tracks in 2023, like probably Grundy. Is that first time you made it down there? Were there any other tracks you went to for the first time in last
Um,
year?
I want to say last year, the first when Slinger, that was the first time that I've ever been on the track. I've been there helping Nick Barstead before. I believe it was Nick Barstead and William Sawalich when they raced Legend Car out there. Um, I've been to, I've pretty much been to all the tracks, but I've never was on tracks. I think it was just Slinger and Grundy were the only two tracks I was never on track at. I raced Kakana in 2015. I raced Jefferson in 2015 with a Tundra Series. I think I ended up getting Rookie of the Year that year with Cole Anderson, if my memory is correct.
You mentioned
Mm.
Sawalich in the Legend, and you were one of the wheelers in the Legends. So is that what really got your appetite going for short track racing? Was once you got into a Legend car?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once I got into a Legend, we started kind of slow, but I mean, my first full year in Legend cars would have been 2009. I think we ended up second in points at Elko, and I was racing against, I think the guy who beat us in points was Jason Brockhouse, which he's a pretty big name out there, one of those Legend cars back in the day. And then from there, it just started working for Fredrickson, and I wanted to get out of racing Legend cars and get into a late model, and he just so happened how Danny works, and he's always got that right deal for you. So we ended up
Hey,
picking a car
buddy.
from him and going for it.
Yeah, Danny is a wheeler for sure.
Oh
So
yeah.
are you still friends with William Sawalich? Do you talk to him quite a bit yet or no?
I don't talk to him too often. I think when I was Daytona doing that ARCA test, I talked to him a little bit there, and then every once in a while we will have a little conversation on Snapchat, but that's about it.
Talk a little bit about going down to Daytona. What was that like for you?
It was more than I expected, to be completely honest with you. Me and my dad, I think we got down there Thursday. Um, just kind of scoped the area out, and then Friday we went to the track, checked the pits out, and talked to a couple guys down there, some spotters that I know and such. And then Saturday it was, kind of getting thrown to the wolves. We ended up getting a pretty cool VIP tour. Got to check out like Victory Lane, like the media area. Went up to the spotter station, checked out the France suite up there. So it was kind of cool to get behind the scenes some and just see all the like the nuts and bolts of how everything works.
How nice that your dad got to go with you.
Right? It was cool. I mean, he's never been to Daytona before. I don't think he's never been to the racetrack for sure. I know that, and we got to I got to take him on a walk down the beach for the first time in his life on an ocean. So that was pretty cool. Once in a lifetime thing for him. So hopefully we can get back down there and do it again.
Wow.
Do
What are
you
your
think he
plans?
ever imagined? Do you,
Go
do you
ahead,
think
Dan.
he ever imagined when he bought you that Legend car that you guys would end up at Daytona making laps on the big track?
Uh, Honestly, I think as a father, you'd always hope that what would happen, sooner or later. But honestly, no. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that was kind of a shock. I feel like for both of us, like, wow, this is actually happening. Like, I'm getting strapped into an ARCA car, and my dad's just, he's smiling ear to ear, and got on the track, and it's it was really surreal, going through the gears in one and two, and then you're wide open on the flat coming out of turn two, and merging up on the track and hitting the banking for the first time. It was definitely a really different experience, that's for sure. Just how much the banking actually controls the car versus like Slinger's got 33 degrees of banking, Daytona's only got 31, but Daytona you're in the banking for so long that like all the blood would rush out of your head. Like my eyes were shaking coming on the corner for the first two or three laps, and it took a little bit to get used to, but once I got used to it, it was fine.
Wow. What was it like when you got out of the car then for the first time?
It was different. It's kind of one of those things, everybody's asking questions how this and that was, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like it's fine. Like it's good. I just, you're just trying to wrap your head around every little thing, where, you're running 3 inches away from the wall at 170 miles an hour, where, or you get a wind gust coming out of the corner, coming out of turn two, and it shoots you to the fence 3 feet. That's unexpected, and you have to be really, really be on top of it. But it was a
Very
really cool
cool.
experience. I would,
That
if
is
anybody can
cool.
do it, I would say go do it.
Awesome. So what's on tap for you for the 2024 season?
Um, honestly, it's kind of up in the air. We don't really have the financial backing to run the whole tour. I mean, that kind of depleted our savings, so to speak. And then I would like to run probably Elko, Lacrosse, Hawkeye, and then Jefferson again, just because I feel like Hawkeye, I feel like it got stolen from me because I do think we would have finished very well in that race. Jefferson was the same thing. We had a brake issue. Um, and then Lacrosse and Elko, there's, Lacrosse I'm decent at, and Elko's my backyard. So that makes all the sense to go there,
Yeah.
You've
Is
you've
there
always done really well at lacrosse, so I'm guessing you're looking at Oktoberfest and also the county fair race they announced this year that's going to go on in July there. That looks like a pretty cool event.
Yeah, I think that's if I remember correctly, I think that's the Refner race, if I remember
Yep.
correctly.
Yeah,
So that's what what was it, 33 lap races or something like, no, they're longer than that.
244 lap races.
244, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It
I'm
pays
pretty
pretty good
excited for
too.
that. Yeah, I think it was, if you ended up winning both races and, being a champion of the two races, I think you end up taking home like 20 grand, which that's a pretty good payout for, local short track racing, especially on a, middle of the week show like that.
That might fund a few more races for you.
That wouldn't be so bad.
Is there a track that you really like, but you just are having a hard time kind of wrapping yourself around it to be able to really conquer it?
Yeah, I would say honestly, how dumb this is going to sound, Elko Speedway. I just have so many habits from racing legend cars over there over the year to, late models when we had different tire compounds. I know how to get around the track. I know where all the bumps are. I know the line, but for some reason, I always just fall into old habits from my legend car racing there. And then the car gets tight in the middle, and then you burn the right front off of it, and then burn the right rear off of it. So the last couple times I've been out there, really been working on my line and just consistency on my line there, just for the more of the long run speed. But I would say Elko, and the next one would probably be Milwaukee Mile. It's a big open track, and it's just the setup there is so different from anything we do here in like a local short track stuff that it really throws you for a loop.
Are you thinking that you'll be able to maybe garner some sponsorships for that? Is that, I mean, that at the end of the day, that's probably what you really need are some sponsors. Are you
Right?
the kind of racer that is not very good at asking for money?
Yeah, that's definitely the downfall of me for sure with our racing. I mean, I think last year, honestly, in total, we probably only got $2,000 in sponsorship, which it's pretty low compared to a lot of other teams out there. It's just so hard for me to go up and ask people, like, hey, you want to give me $15,000 to put your name on my car for the year? It just seems like a lot of money for me to go around in a circle. Just the way I look at it.
Oh,
And
Brian,
then
we
I
need to
think
talk. We need to talk.
I know.
I think a lot of fans don't realize how much time and money it takes to, even though the tour's not a lot of races, it's a big effort to get people to join you to go to some of those faraway races from Minnesota, and then the amount of money it takes with fuel and tires and race fuel and all that stuff. It really adds up at the end of the year.
Oh, it does. I mean, I figured we added it up, and we didn't really do any testing or buy tires for testing. We'd buy one set of practice tires pretty much every race we went to. But we had a used set from the week before that were mock qualifying tires. So we always had decent practice tires, and I figured we added it up, and it was about 30 grand in race tires alone. And I'm like, holy moly! And then you add the race deal into it, and then maintenance. We ended up blowing the motor up at Madison for the 100 lapper this year, and yeah, that expense on top of it, and it was just like, man, like this is getting really, really expensive. And at that point, we were so far into it that you can't quit. You can, but then it's like you'll never get that opportunity to be a rookie of the year again.
You definitely capitalized on that.
Right? Thank you. I
And that's
appreciate that.
definitely something to capitalize as you're selling sponsorships for 2024.
This is very true. I just haven't found the right way to go about it yet, I guess.
Mm. You're
After
very
my 20,
likable. You're a
yeah, I
very
try to be.
likable guy.
I try to be.
Well, I hope you can pull something together on that. That would be a shame to have things cut short after you've had a very successful season and I mean even got to go to Daytona. I think for you and a lot of racers, what it really comes down to is you undervalue yourself, and whether that's just modesty or um, I don't know, you worry about looking like you're puffing yourself up. But the fact of the matter is, you are a viable product, and
Right.
you're racing. Obviously, you had a great season. You've got something to show for it, and there are people who want to support that. So don't
Right.
sell yourself short.
I know. I just gotta get to the right, ask the right people, I guess, and just realistically, it's the big thing for me is I don't want to seem like overconfident or cocky, and there's a lot of people that know me as not being that person. I don't want to start coming across as that person to try to get sponsorship. It's just, I don't know. For me, it's hard to do, but I do know that, we would able to get sponsorship and there's people that would sponsor me. It's just hard to wrap my brain around it, I guess.
As I've learned from Jacqueline several times this year, it's all about relationship building.
Hmm.
Yep.
It really is. It really, really is. And if you're going to be pulling from Minnesota, I mean, the trailer is also a great advertising place too for businesses. Just
That
saying,
is
it's
also
another
true.
opportunity. It's a rolling billboard for you.
Yep.
But I'd like to see you be able to do something. You are a very likable guy, and you did have some really strong runs and some lousy luck that kind of cut your spotlight down a little bit at some of those races. But again, at the end of the day, Brian, you pulled off Rookie of the Year, and that's not easy to do.
No, it's
So
not.
that's impressive. Yeah.
But
So
yeah, I mean,
what's Go ahead.
hopefully we can get there. I don't know. I would really like to run the whole tour again, but now the other thing that's hard too is with getting the crew guys to go. There was a couple of times where all your crew guys were like, "Yep, I'm going, I'm going, I'm going," and then Friday night when you're leaving, they just don't answer your text messages or phone calls. It's like,
Mm,
well, you could have let me know 24 hours ago to phone somebody else to go. So I mean, like we went to 100 lapper at Madison. I had three crew guys going. When we left, we had zero. So it was just me and my dad going out there, and then end up my spotter and a couple other guys got together, and we ended up having like seven people in the crew when we were down there, which was a good thing because clutch went out of the car during qualifying. And then we cracked the piston during the race, and just anything that went wrong or could go wrong went wrong, and it was just everything we do to pull everything back together just to salvage a decent finish. Which I think I'm finishing 11th, but I don't think I think it was 11th, but
it's respectable of everything that happened to you.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if anything else, Brian, you're a fighter, man. I kind of like that about you. You're a
Oh
scrapper.
yeah.
You're gonna make shit happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, we're kind of known for that. I remember when we were racing, I think it was the Dwayne Barron's race in 2022 at Elko Speedway. Uh, had a new spotter. They checked up getting in turn one, green flag lap. I ended up getting in the back of somebody. Somebody got back into me and ended up back in the car in the fence. And the fuel cell was touching the left rear tire. The rear clip was swayed over like 2 feet. And intermission hit. So I called the tow truck driver up there. He pulled the rear clip over, welded it all back together. I think we drove from 26 to fourth in 25 laps or
Wow.
30 laps.
Wow. That's
So
impressive.
there's a lot of people that would then look at the car and been like, maybe we'll just load it up and go sit in the stands and drink beer. I'm like, no, no. We're gonna go back to the track. We're gonna go win the race or try our best to.
Nice. Maybe you need to get a beer sponsor for to get the crew in motivated a little bit more.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
Bush Light if you're watching. I mean,
So yeah, look at oh
perfect.
wait, Dan, what was you have to talk to get the
Yeah,
microphone to
I do have my Bush Light here as well.
wow.
I got the 16 ounce, so the 12-ounce cans are worthless to me these days.
Yep.
Why do I feel like the adult? I just had soup in my Tigger mug.
Yo,
That was
right, right. That's what's in the mug.
oh shoot. Brian, you are a really nice guy. I hope to see you pull some things together for 2024. Don't underestimate what you're able to do. Don't undersell yourself and talk to the people that you know. I bet there's probably a handful of people who would gladly support your racing, but you just never asked.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong on that whatsoever. I mean, I think most of the sponsorships that I have gotten are people that are like hey, would you care if I sponsor your car? I'm like, no, absolutely, come on aboard, you know. So I definitely lack in that department, but I try to make it up on the racetrack, I guess.
Well, we wish you all the luck in 2024. Is there what was I going to ask? Oh, I wanted to ask you who one final question for you. Who are your heroes in racing?
Ooh, my heroes. I would say first and foremost, I'd be Dale Earnhardt Sr. I mean, I always watched him growing up. You know, I mean, I think he passed away when I was 5 or 6, but still, I'll still go back and watch races from the mid '90s when he'd drive from last and somehow win the race. And but other than that, honestly, it'd be Dan Fredrickson. He's been a life coach, you could say, to me, and just with helping me with the racing and like my knowledge of race cars. He's done a lot for my racing career. Can't thank that man enough. Um, Another guy is probably Jacob Gady because we both kind of came from the same roots from racing quarter midgets to going into like late models. Well, he went from quarter midgets to late models. I had legend cars in between, but just watching what he has done with his career, and still having a family doing it, like that's pretty impressive to me.
Well, I know Danny will be busy probably getting sponsorships together for his son Ty, but I mean, Danny's all about a good deal, right? So
Oh yeah,
maybe he might be open to helping you secure some sponsorships for a little piece of the pie for himself too. I don't know.
yeah,
Look at
you're
me
probably not
floating that
wrong.
out there. But he might.
Yeah, you never know. Don't know until you ask.
And that right there is the phrase you need to remember. You don't know until you ask. You
That
got
is
to
very
ask. I
true.
bet you know so many people that you could talk to.
You're not. I don't think you're wrong in that in one bit.
And I think your dad would love to see you go at it again for another full season to see what happens.
Yeah, I know he really wants to do it, but he just knows how much work I went into it last year, and if we get the sponsorship to do it or the financials behind us, I mean, he would love it. He loves going to the racetrack. It's what he pretty much lives for nowadays. It seems like so. We definitely it would definitely be good for both of us to run another season with the tour.
So
That
you
was
got to,
something I was gonna bring up too. We can talk about your dad, but I met your mom several years ago, and I had my RV and I had Midwest Racing Connection sticker on the back of it. She didn't know who I was. She's like, Midwest Racing Connection. I have so many copies of that paper on the refrigerator at home. My son races, and I'm thinking, oh, this is so cool. She's got pictures of Bryan all over the place at home, and
Oh
I
yeah,
just thought that was so cool that she was so proud of her boy racing.
oh yeah. She's definitely a happy mom, that's for sure. If you go in her garage at her house, she's got a banner from when I won track championship at Elko Speedway in the Legend Cars 2010 champ. She got that hanging in there and pictures all over the house. She's definitely a proud mom. You can say that.
do you have siblings?
I have one sister. I think she lives in South Dakota, but
Okay.
I don't really see her very often.
Okay. I didn't know if you were the only wheeler in the family or if there were others.
Nope, it was just me. She tried. I don't even know if she really liked racing, to be honest with you. But her
Depends
loss,
probably
my
on
gain.
the experience. I think about my husband. He had his daughters trying go-kart racing, and the middle daughter ended up getting her jacket caught in,
Oh
I don't know if it was
no.
the chain or something on the go-kart. It just ripped the jacket off of her and scared the bejeebers out of her. And she really
Oh
didn't
yeah.
want to have anything to do with it after that. So go figure. Way to go, Tobes. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, well, Bryan, we appreciate you taking time to join us on the Racing Nuggets podcast. Good luck to you in 2024. I hope to see you pull some financial backing together and maybe be able to run again the entire Midwest Tour season. It would be great to see you out there at every race.
Yeah, it would be fun. Hopefully we can. I'm gonna do my best to do it.
Awesome. Good luck to you.
Yep. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.